whatever the issues are.
The National Assembly is constitutionally empowered to scrutinize,
however complex or intricate.
We have involved all the academia, the members of the academia. We have involved the academies.
Be it government policies or in fact any issue of public concern.
Our job is to help you gain clarity and make sense of it all.
This is not really healthy for our democracy.
There's a lot of aggrievance in terms of who has been in power longest and who becomes the governor of the state.
It's also in the quality of food being consumed.
After all, perception is insight.
And gaining understanding is also getting insight.
On this segment, a business management consultant provided insights into how small business owners can succeed and not become victims of failed businesses. Let's hear from Namdi and his guest.
My guest is Dr. Valentino Evans, a management consultant, executive coach, and leadership expert. He's also the managing director and chief executive officer of Black Belt Global Consulting, and he's here to help us, clear up some gray areas as regards these issues. Welcome to Inside, Dr. Evans.
Thank you for having me.
There are definitely, and I came across lots of them in my research for this conversation, reasons why MSMEs, generally fail, but particularly in Nigeria. I heard that at least 50% of these small businesses, that they collapse in the first year of establishment, and nearly 80% of them fail within 5 years into their operations. I find, this, and of course, one other reason quite intriguing and germane, and that is that businesses or some businesses do not even know their market, do not even understand their value or the value of the services and products that they have to offer before they even establish an open shop. I would think that that is the core foundation of any business. Upon establishment or even before establishment, I beg your pardon. So I understand a bit about what business development service providers do. But I wonder if beyond creating business plans for whether for prospective or existing businesses, our business support systems, generally and truly equip entrepreneurs to get a good sense or better understand the nuanced needs of the Nigerian consumer and also subsequently help them effectively couch their messaging for them to be able to communicate whatever unique value that they have for the market.
Well, it's remarkable it's alarming actually if you look at the number of businesses that do fail right from the startup, from 1 year of inception into 5 years. It's really alarming. And most of them do not take cognizance of the fact that there are certain things which must be your non-negotiables or things that must be foundational to starting businesses that you must pay attention to. A lot of them do not even know it. And before you even start a business, like you said, you need to pay attention to what their minimum viable product is. That is their MVP. It's very important that you get to know that.
Does that also translate to their unique selling point?
Yes, it might initially translate to their unique selling point because put your best foot forward is what is being said. So if you actually from the onset know your whys you're coming into business, that will ultimately dovetail into the fact that you will be solving a problem. Business in itself is solving a problem. You are meeting a certain need in your community, in your locality, in your nation at large. You are meeting a need. And in meeting that need, you must have researched and found out an answer to a certain question. So that's what business is. It's not going to be circumstantial or because you are hungry, that's why you just started a business. No. It must be that you have encountered a problem and you know you are well equipped to actually solve that problem. That's what brings you into business. And then in going into business, you begin to know or develop a product to present to your community, to present to your world. And when that product is properly refined, properly given the right attention, and then the quality of that product gets to a stage whereby it can be presented to your world, then you can say that's a minimum viable product. Okay. Now, that's an initial, it might be the entry point into the market. might be that entry point into the market is what will allow the market to receive you, allow the people to know what you do. Now, it might broaden up later in the future, but when you balance that, you will find out that focusing on that and putting all you have into that will definitely and ultimately make you a strong force and grind you into your locality. So you will be able to move that business to where it's meant to be. So you would definitely scale some hurdles that will, mitigate or cause your fall.
And again, I come back to you on the same question that I asked, because knowing all you've said is idyllic. I mean, in an ideal situation. You and I know there are people who get into businesses without knowing some of these facts, and that is why they fail in the first year of establishment, and more so, even when, people come in to help and all of that, and then they still fail within the first 5 years of their establishment or operations, as it were. And so I raised the issue of the BDSP, and that's the business developers, development service providers, and how such services or, providers could also come in to help such, whether they are prospective or existing businesses, understand the nuanced value that they offer. How does that all fit into this conversation? I mean, what essentially does the BDSP does, especially when you find yourself in such a situation where you do not even understand in the first place the value you have for the market?
Okay, now, thank you very much for that beautiful question. Now, the thing is this. It's extremely important that we take cognizance of the fact that when a man is sick, he needs a doctor. Whether you are not even sick, you need to get your test done to know how your health is. Now, the person that can help you understand or know the health of your business is your business development service providers. In quote, we call them BDSPs. Okay. Now, the work of the BDSP is to help you look at your business holistically. These are business doctors. They've been trained and equipped with the ability to be able to help navigate your business, help you navigate with your business. When you're going into business, you need an arm of your business, which is you call a HR specialist, to help you handle the human resource department. Now, the job of the BDSP involves or entails also helping you with your HR department. Now, it's a holistic thing entirely. We found out that many businesses that even get funding into their businesses right from the onset, whether it's a startup fund or whether you are doing your Series A or Series B, you are doing all that, money is coming in, but many of them fail because there are some certain critical factors and some certain key performance indexes that they actually cannot understand. And these indexes or these nuances they can come into play when you have or employ the services of a BDSP.
Is it true that it is quite dangerous for a business to mix personal funds with, or use business funds to meet personal needs? I would think that the whole essence for me running a business is so that I can address my personal needs. Why then is it, difficult to pull out money, or it's not ideal for me to pull out money from my business, maybe not my capital, but maybe it's my profit, at least from my business account, and use that to address some personal needs? Is that poor financial management or mismanagement, as it were, in your world, in the business world?
Well, this is a very broad topic, but I'll answer it in a way that can easily fit for what we're doing right now. So the first thing is, before you go into business, there are capacity building trainings that you must engage in, and one of them is financial management, proper financial management. 40% of businesses right now in Nigeria have come up, or part of the surveys that was done, we found out that 40% of businesses have the problem of financial literacy, which is proper cash flow. Now, you might think you know about money, but until you begin to learn how cash flow is meant to be recorded and follow through in business, there will be problem. You must be able to identify where money is leaking in your business and where money needs to be pumped into your business. It's not about what you like. It's about the service you are providing for your community. Now, the thing is, when you are a founder, when you are a creator, you come up with the idea for a business. It comes into your mind. You know that there is money to be infused into that business. And so therefore, the first sets of monies you are making in that business, you ought to understand that a large chunk of it should go back into the business to actually give it the strength that it needs to have. And if you started a business, this is Nigeria. You started a business because you're a little broke and you just want to make money and spend it. You need to understand that proper financial management should inform you that you should begin to pay yourself a certain salary. Now, that salary might not be so robust at the beginning, but a portion of your funds should go back into the business so that that business keeps going. If you take all the funds out and use it on pleasures, or even if needs arises and you use your business funds, how is that business going to grow? It's going to die right from its inception. And so that's part of the problem why, like you said, most businesses, 50% of startups die in the first 1 year. It's part of the major problem is not because they do not have money, it's because they did not manage what came in properly.
So I shouldn't start thinking of next week Sunday now because maybe I've worked Monday to Saturday and I think, I just made one small profit from one sales or one service that I just made or gave, and maybe I should take out time on Sunday to largesse, and spend from that money. That is not wise as a businessman. It depends on how I manage it, right?
And how much money is coming in. But you must definitely, minimum 20 to 40% of what came in must go back, must go back into the business.
True. Let me, while we still are on this whole issue of funding, let me ask a question as regards inadequate financing. Obviously, that is another key aspect of funding, and it's another critical component of whether a business fails or succeeds. How is the business advisory ecosystem, effectively structured to help build the trust and transparency required to connect viable small businesses with today's somewhat suspicious, maybe wealthy, but yet reluctant financiers? Say for instance, I want to expand my small fish farm by small scale aquaculture into maybe processing and exportation, and I clearly need funds to do that. How appropriate, I beg your pardon, would it be to explore maybe a network of angel investors or crowdfunding platforms to grow my business? Does the structure of my business determine the finance options open to me?
Now, that's a very vital question. When it comes to financing or funding businesses, especially in this part of the world, Nigeria here, we must understand that there is a critical thing there. There are things you must meet. There are criteria that you have to meet before an angel investor or a bank or whatever institution is ready to, options you have on the table. There are criteria that they look at. For example, you want to secure a loan from Bank of Industry. Bank of Industry has criteria that you must meet. And most of these criteria you cannot meet on your own. That's why you need a BDSP to help you go through these things and make sure you are well positioned and help you with all the documentation and everything you need. Now, the thing is this. Many of us do not have proper financial documentations. Now, that's one of the major things. You might have registered with all the CAC and everything, institution you need to register with, everything on point. But before an investor looks at you the second time, they want to see your books properly done. They want to make sure that you are not one that when this funding comes, the first thing is you go and marry another wife, or you go and buy a brand new car and begin to show everybody we just got our Series A funding and we're good. So that's where the challenge is. The trust between the investor and the entrepreneur, it has to be properly built. And so in Nigeria, when we begin to focus on the proper things, the key performance indexes, and we are, we tailor make our business to fit into these things, we will not have these challenges or these problems. Now, one thing I'm going to say again is, when you go to get loans from probably BOA, BOI, or any financial institution, banks and all that, you want to get funding from them. They might ask you for a collateral. You want to get a 10 million naira fund, they're asking you to bring 20% down payment, and you do not have it. Now, I like what the federal government has done. The National Credit Guarantee Corporation is taking is taking away 40%, basically. No, that's 60%. They've been able to take away 60%. Government has pumped in funding into that for you to be able to access 50% of that. So it remains 40%. And if your books now are not right, in which we found out that many people, even 40%, they still cannot meet up. Why? Because their books are not right. So an angel investor wants to come to you. Every business from inception, whether you are a startup or you are already in business, you must make sure that your books are right, everything, your documentation is right, even to your address, your personality, then your knowledge of the business. Your knowledge of the business is very key. If I see that you are making money from your business and all that, and your knowledge of that business is not standard, chances are that down the line, you will lose that business to someone who has more knowledge, who has gone for more capacity building, who has developed themselves, and is taking advantage of what we call probably the tech or the micro shifts of the market or the cultural nuances that we have right now. Anybody who's paying attention to that might outrun you in your business. Perhaps they might even start after you because they saw you start it. But if they pay attention to these things, they will run you out of business, and an investor will always pay attention to these things.
Talking about, running out of business or maybe expanding, I would like to ask you two questions, quick questions. I'll need two quick responses because we're totally out of time. My director just informed me we were short our time. First, Doc, is it true that rapid growth itself can be fatal for a small business? In what context is that even possible? And then two, this whole copy syndrome, for businesses that we have in Nigeria. My neighbor opens a sachet water business. He appears to be making it. I quickly go open a sachet business, a sachet water business as well, without understanding the dynamics of the market and who or where my market is and all of that. And then there is no originality, there is no innovation. How does all of this impact on small businesses, as it were, in Nigeria?
Well, starting from the last question, you've already answered it by yourself. You said there is no originality in it. No, see, the person that initially opened it, perhaps maybe he worked with an organization that has done that for a bit or for a few years. And now he understands the dynamics. He knows the terrain very well. And he has gone into that. He's beginning to, he just moves into that business and he's good with it. But you saw that it's making money. You don't even understand how he started or what made him start or how he even got his first funding to start. And then you just take money and you jump into it. And there's going to be a serious problem. There are differences between the both of you. Now, when it comes to the copycat kind of thing, we do copy a lot.
Yes.
Nigeria is known for that. But you have to have your own unique selling point. That's why it's called a unique selling point, something that's peculiar to you that nobody else has. It has to be unique to you, and you must present that to the world, and that's what the world is going to see.
Very quickly, the issue of rapid growth and how that
it's a problem. I was coming into that. Rapid growth is dangerous. Organic growth is good. It helps you master and know and understand the business terrain itself, see how it's growing. Rapid growth might be good for those who have been in that field for a bit, that shifted or diversified or into their own sector. Maybe you left someone's business to start your own. You might already understand how to handle it. But rapid growth is dangerous for someone who is just coming into that. You can pump. That is why too much money into that business is dangerous. You might be trying to meet a need that you don't have capacity to handle. And so organic growth is very, very good, as much as it's good to grow rapidly and to go widely, but make sure that you have all the critical stakes to handle that particular kind of thing, because when the storm comes, you might not be able to handle it.
Dr. Valentino Evans, CEO, Black Belt Global Consulting, Executive Coach and Consultant, as well as Transformation Leadership Advisor. Thank you so much for coming on Insight. It's been quite germane. We appreciate your insight on this matter. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.